Broadcasting live.
Listen live online 24/7.
24/7. Around the world.
Right here. Right now.
It's 300 Radio.
And you know this, man.
What up? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Scott Free Morning Show. I am your gracious host himself, L. Scott. And today is Friday. Give me a hand clap for Friday, guys, everyone. Let me get that on here. Connect. You guys can't even hear that. Let's hear it again. Let's get that. Let's get it. So, on today's episode, and the reason why I wanted to play that, man, I'm feeling good today. Matter of fact, I shouldn't be feeling this good, being at the fact I've been up since 2:30 this morning, and it is now 11 a.m. If anybody knows anything about me, you know that I have a hard time sleeping. So, and last night was one of them nights. So, I would expect to be dragging, but I am hyped up right now on energy drinks and things like that. So, and I don't want to come crashing down on you guys. So we're going to keep the show moving. It is Friday, and on Fridays, it is co-host Fridays. So I got Miss Lovey in the house today. I'm going to give her a call. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right into the Chill Report.
It's time for the Chill Report.
It's about to go down.
Oh my goodness. This is my favorite part of the show. It's called the Chill Report. Oh, I love it. But the guy who gives the news, they hate to give the news.
Really? For once in your life, just do the fucking news. All right? No. I'm gonna do the fucking news. No. Here is the fucking news.
Alrighty, so let's get, we're not gonna waste no time. Like I said, we're gonna get her call. Let me get some music back on in the background real quick. Get this off the screen. Get Miss Lovey on the screen. Let me see if I can get her up here on the vertical screen too. I haven't even put her up here yet. Let's put her on the screen. There she goes. I see you, sugar. So there she goes. She's on the screen. Let me back myself up some, because I mean, with her being on the screen, I am massive in size up here this time. So I want to make sure you guys can see my beautiful face. So let's bring this down some. There you go. Now that looks more better. You're looking at your boy. I'm looking a little more copacetic on your screen. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure you guys could hear me properly. But let's get her called up so we can get this thing moving. I don't want to waste anybody's time today. Let's do it. I'm hot too, y'all. For real. For some reason, I am cooking for some reason today. I don't get it. Let's get that down some more. There we go. Is she not answering this morning?
Hello?
What up, Shoulder?
What's going on?
I thought you weren't ready to answer. I said, she ain't ready to pick up the phone. What is she doing?
Listen, I had my phone ringer down. I just so happened to pick my phone up and saw the call.
Okay. All right, there you go. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said, I was running behind schedule. Man, I got back in town. Let me first and foremost tell them, if you wasn't here yesterday, but I told the viewing audience yesterday, I just got back from vacation. You know I went to Puerto Rico, right?
You told me you would. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I went to Puerto Rico, and I stayed at the place that you told me about.
Oh, tell me how it was.
Okay, so let me tell you, the resort, you're going to love it. Now, I will say this: if you're going with the family, which I suspect that you will, just know it's going to be there's going to be you and the family. Let me tell you my critiques of the place. I got some good, some pros and cons, real fast. The pros. Okay. Very clean place. The rooms are amazing. They was very clean. The bed was nice. The temperature in the room was nice. The bathrooms were clean. The toilets were clean. The stand-up shower was nice. The grounds to the resort itself is not too big. It's not too small. Very well put together. Very manicured. You don't even have to leave the resort at all, right?
Okay.
Now the only downsides that I see is two. One, you're not gonna give a shit about. The other one, you may. One is the women in Puerto Rico are not the nicest women in the world. I do not know what's up with Puerto Rican women, but whether it was talking to a male or female, those Puerto Rican women were rude. It was the men were cool as a fan. Every guy that I met, whether it's a bellhop, grounds worker, restaurant worker, Uber driver, all of them was cool. The women, I didn't meet not one nice one at all.
Okay.
So that's that. And then I'll tell you the only significant thing that I did not like about Puerto Rico, and I didn't know this about Puerto Ricans at all, I don't like their food.
Oh, okay.
The food, I put like this. I was there for 5 days. The first 3 days, I didn't have one meal that I actually liked at all.
Yeah, that's important.
That's very important.
Vacation.
And I tell them this because, like I said, the resort there, they had a couple of restaurants. They had a sushi place that was.
So ask you,
Go ahead.
what did you try the steak? Like, I was looking forward to the Asian steakhouse. Going to the
Okay,
Asian
so let
steakhouse.
me tell you, you're talking about Prime, and it's a two-part to it. It's Prime is on one side, that's the steakhouse, and Nori, I think, is the sushi place. They're in the same building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nori was cool. I would have loved to have tried the steakhouse, but how about you had to get a reservation to even get into either one of these two restaurants? I was able to get into Nori, but the steakhouse, they're still booked out all the way to April 18th, and it's the 4th.
Wow.
So that was,
Okay.
so I never tried them, but if you do go, do not try Nectar. The food is horrible.
Okay.
The buffet that they had was pretty cool. They had a morning breakfast buffet. It's pretty cool. It's at God, I can't remember the restaurant name now, but that's pretty cool. And then the bars have pretty good drinks. But I'm telling you, the selection of food and everything's pork heavy. I don't eat pork at all, but everything's pork heavy down there. So, but that's it.
Okay.
But it was nice.
Big one.
You're gonna love it. It wasn't too expensive at all, and I'll tell you, when you're there, don't pay for any water because you can get water from anywhere. Don't pay for any water.
Okay. Well, we decided that, so we're going, we had to reschedule because of the weather.
Mhm.
We were going to go in October. But we ended up deciding that we were going to go to the Atlantis in the Bahamas. So that's where we're going to be going in June.
Now I've always heard of it. That's the one with the underground, like it's underwater or some of it, right?
Yeah, okay. On My Wife and Kids, the episode where David Allen Greer was on there and they were in the Bahamas.
Oh, okay. When he took the
That's the
32
hotel.
flights to get to the Bahamas. That episode.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the hotel we're gonna be staying at.
Funny you brought up old TV shows real fast. I had no intention on going here, but I did want to say something to you that I know you're gonna appreciate. The show creator of Martin, I saw him do an interview the other day, right? And he was talking about.
I wanted to do the same one. Go ahead.
All right. So, did you know who the creator is?
Well, okay. So, who I was talking about is the guy. His name is Bentley, the one that's Call Me Almond guy.
Okay, so you did say it. I thought I was ready to tell you something. So you did know that then. Okay, because I never knew that he was the creator, one of the creators of the show.
Well, now what I heard him say, you tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I heard because he was asked about his residuals.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That's what I saw.
He said his Martin residuals were good.
Right. Jamie Foxx was the problem.
He was a from what I understood, he was a writer on the Martin show.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but he was a co-creator
right.
of the Jamie Foxx show. So he said, I was actually the co-creator of the Jamie Foxx show, and my residuals is nothing.
He still gets
compared
nothing to
me
this
being
day.
a writer, and how?
Yeah, because he said he still gets nothing to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I saw that.
yeah, I knew he directed, and I knew he was back behind the scenes.
I didn't know that. I promise I didn't know that.
Really, I didn't know it until the Jamie Foxx show because I saw his name come across, the credits, and I was like, "This name looks familiar," and I Googled him, and I was like, "Wait, that's Call Me Almond, dude." And then yeah, I did know.
Because see, for me, when I saw it, I was like, "Man, I can't wait till I talk to Lovey. I bet she don't know that he was. I just thought he was an actor on the show. Who knew he was so important to the show? You know what I'm saying?
Did you know that Nipsey was actually he fell into that role? He and Martin
are friends. They're
childhood friends.
Yeah, I heard that.
And there was and the character I can't remember what he said happened, but you know, they had the character of Nipsey, and something happened with the actor or whatever. But anyway, Martin was like, happened to be on set kicking it with him that day, and was like, "You wanna do Nipsey?" And he was like, "Cool." And that's how he fell into.
It was a good role because I know Nipsey just passed a few years ago. Martin was talking. Yeah, Martin. If you follow Martin on social media, when he passed, I think he didn't take it that well because he talked about it, everything like that. So it's funny you brought up Martin because I saw. Did you see the clip with him and Ricky Smiley recently when they was interacting backstage? Did you see that?
No.
Well, it looks like they were interacting. You know, Ricky Smiley's giving love to Martin and everything like that. When I tell you, when I see Martin, man, it's just. I want him to go sit down somewhere, man. I love you to death, man, but I can tell something's not right. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? We have to stop doing this. And more women than men, but we want the people we grew up on
to stay young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
we do.
Let me tell you, I love to see the Renz tape because it makes me not feel as old because he looks dang near exactly like he did.
Yeah, he's aging amazing. Yes, he is.
Yeah. You know, and then when you see someone, Tashina Arnold, Holden, and then when you see them now, it kind of makes you sad because you know what I think it does? I think it makes you miss yesteryear.
Yeah, I
you
agree.
realize yesteryear is gone.
Yeah, and I saw Tisha Campbell recently. She was doing some type of. She lost weight, so she was out here strutting herself on the street recently I saw her, and I was like, po thing, Gina does not look, light skin do not hold up well, does it?
Okay, so we're going to give her a little bit of pass. She has medical condition.
What's her medical condition? I didn't know she had one. What's wrong with her?
She has sarcoidosis.
Oh, now that makes sense, because she looks like it. I did not know that. Go ahead.
Oh, right. And I was going to say, she did an interview, I want to say last year, and because she started to look a lot better. You saw how she looked. I don't know if you watched Real House Husbands of Hollywood.
I watched the first run, but I didn't watch it when they came back.
Did you see her on the show?
Yeah, I know what she looked like. She was actually one of her and the girl who passed recently were the comic relief out of the females for that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I cannot think of her name.
Erica.
Yeah.
I don't remember her last name, but Erica, yeah. And so they asked, she was like, I was able to get my condition in remission.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked her, well, what do you think you did to be able to get you in remission? She said, oh, I got divorced.
Yeah. So I noticed she has a disdain for Dwayne Martin, but I think that Lisa Ray may have a bigger disdain for him than even Tisha Campbell does. So
I don't think so. I just think Lisa Ray don't give a fuck, and where Tisha Campbell, you know, he's still the father of her children,
right?
And she may want to have a level of respect for him in public because of that,
right?
But she just don't care. Lisa Ray don't care.
Well, let me ask you something, because I'm not going to hold you too long, because I know it's Friday. I know you got work to do, and we sit here gossiping, so I want to get something to you, though. So I was going to ask you two things. One, well, I'm going to start here, because the other one I feel is going to take us out. How do you feel, being that you are a religious lady yourself, how do you feel about what happened with the whole Marvin Sapp thing? You know I wanted to touch it.
Okay. First, let me clarify.
Okay, go ahead.
I am not a religious person.
Okay.
I am a spiritual person.
Okay.
I'm not conformed to any religion. Now, I do, base my beliefs off of, biblically, but I don't go, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. But I'll answer your question.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that first of all, I loved Never Would Have Made It.
We all did, and I'm not religious at all. You know that, so. And I love it. Yeah.
I loved it so much. It was going to be, and I don't know why I was young. I don't know why I was going to pick this song, but our uncle, Junie was singing me in my wedding, and I asked him to sing Never Would Have Made It.
Oh.
And he just kind of like, no, we'll pick another song. I think it's because,
his range,
but,
even though he's a great singer, his range may not have wanted to take him to that. I don't know.
Yeah, it may not have fit.
Yeah.
So that's how much I love that song. That's how much that song touched me and encouraged me over the years. And so it was highly disappointing to see him do that. And then what was even worse is how instead of taking accountability and saying, you know what, and I think this happened I don't know how it resurfaced, but this happened maybe a couple of years ago, he said. And it was like, when I said it, now that I know better, I was so wrong. I should have never, it was kind of like, my tone was a little off.
Yeah. So you saw the Ricky Smiley interview. That's what you saw.
Oh, okay. And I thought he did not take accountability like he should have.
He didn't take none.
And instead, you want to tell everybody how you and your family are getting death threats.
Which is, I don't believe that at all.
Garner sympathy for yourself.
I don't believe that at all. I do not believe he's getting death threats. I don't believe that.
I don't either. Who? Who
no one.
You death threats for that?
Put it like this, because like class example, for a person like myself who doesn't deal with people like that, I don't feel the need to go out the way because he's catching all the heat that he needs to get anyway. Why would I need to send him death threats? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it don't jive. It's not a death threat type of.
He's using white people talking points. I'm going to move the goalposts and make you sympathetic of me versus taking accountability for what I've done.
Yes.
That's what he's done. But you want to know something funny? I'll give you something funny. So let me go. I'm going to take you back 15 years ago. This is what's going to tell you that I know he knows what he's doing and he doesn't feel sorry for what he's doing. I'm going to tell you how I know. Totally unrelated story. 15 years ago, I had the luxury and the pleasure of working for a rental company. And my direct boss at the time was very religious. He lived in Holly Springs, North Carolina. Okay. So this should tell you this story sparked so much for me. I remember on a random weekday, my old boss came into work. This was like 2010. And he was like, man, we had a blast last night. Marvin Sapp came to our church to speak. And guess what Marvin Sapp did when he was at that church that night?
What?
He said the same. That was not the first time I heard it. So when I heard him say, he said, Marvin locked the doors and he set a number and he was like, nobody's leaving until we hit that number. And no one left until he hit that number. So that tells me this is not something that was random at that event that they asked him to do. This is something that he has done before. And so what it is, it just was never highlighted before. And I could definitively say, because I remember that, because I remember thinking to myself when I heard it from my old boss, this dude sounds like an ass for doing that. So
yeah,
that's why I know he meant that.
And then I see a lot of, people talking about, oh, we love to bring up when our church folks do something wrong, but we don't highlight when they do something right. And I'm like,
that's a given. They're supposed to.
My God, you when you're doing something right, you shouldn't need a pat on the back. You're supposed to get that from God.
Yes, I agree.
So when you are, as you're telling me, consistently doing something that is not of God, and you're mad because people are speaking out, this man clearly has a following. He has a church ear. And to say that you're going to be mad because it's been brought to light that he in essence, let me tell you something. This is what I thought about. I was like, you know, we on some hard times economically, right? Like
right.
This is a rough time for everyone economically.
Yeah, that's all. I was talking about yesterday's show. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's already rough. It's always rough for black folks, so it's even rougher. So for you, there could have been people sitting in that venue who didn't have $5.
Yeah.
And you're going to humiliate and embarrass them? like that. You give what if somebody had $100 on them and they needed that $100 to get through the work week?
See,
who are you to say $20 is not a lot to give?
Well,
you don't.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm
no, you keep going. I didn't want to. You rocking and roll. You cooking. I promise you. I feel the same way. I think what it is, this has been always my issue with the black church, is because what it is that is a manipulation thing. They know that you don't have the funds. They know that you basically, they're pimping you into doing it. He knew it. Look, when he said close the doors, everybody's going to get $20 and you're going to walk up here to give it. That was to let you know, if you sit your ass in that chair, everybody in here is going to talk about you. So I'm going to make you get out your chair.
Horrible.
And then the second thing, when he said two things I do not like. One, God and money should not be in the same breath because, for one, the creator of all doesn't need your paper. That's one.
Yeah.
Secondly, to stand your ass on that stage and to make the comment, it costs to be up here, so everyone up here has to break off 100, and then you go into your wallet like you didn't get. He said he didn't get anything out of that, but he pulled what Oprah did with that whole Kamala Harris thing when she did that thing for Kamala Harris. You didn't directly get a check in Marvin Sapp's name, but your business does, and he knows that happens. And so I don't like the disingenuous stuff that they talk when they do that. And that's why the church is dying, is because people are lying too much in the church now.
Well,
in my opinion,
they said be aware of false prophets. And we are in a country that, like, let's take, Christianity as a religion, right? Mm-hmm. We know that Christianity was kidnapped. I'm going to say, I can't think of the word I want to use.
You want to say co-opted?
Kidnapped.
Co-opted.
Huh?
Let's say they co-opted it.
Co-opted Christianity.
Okay.
And they used it to justify white supremacy, right?
I agree.
Now, I've always used this as a term. I'm not oblivious to know that, right?
Right.
And I also know that the branches of Christianity that have broken off, like the Baptist, the Pentecostal, whoever, it still drifts in white supremacy.
Of course.
But what I always like to tell people, that's why I say I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, because I know it's been hijacked in this country. And so I always say, I use the analogy of scissors, right?
Okay.
So I say scissors were created to cut things, to be of use, to be useful, right?
Okay.
So in this analogy, biblically, that would represent scissors. Now, if I'm using them and the purpose of it to use it is to be useful, that doesn't stop a Jeffrey Dahmer for grabbing some scissors and using it incorrectly to do what they want to do with it for their own particular reasons. He's stabbing folks with it.
Okay.
That doesn't make the scissors bad. It makes the people who are using it incorrectly bad.
Okay, this is my only pushback to that. And this is what has always been my thing. And I don't know why I can't get around this. All right, so we're told from a very early age, this is the word of God. This is what God wants. This is what God needs you to be. And your whole existence of your afterlife is based upon you following certain rules to a T. And my only issue I guess I have with it is this. I don't think that something that created us all would allow people to use him to enslave an entire group of people. They've enslaved the entire planet with this, pretty much. And so for me, I have to wonder, see, that's my pushback with religion is I don't know if I would think the grand creator of something would even allow that. And that's just mine.
Well, this is the thing. I don't think it's about allow. What God gave us all, right?
Oh God. No, don't say it. Don't say it.
What?
You ready to say free will?
Yeah. Let me get it out. Let me get it out. He gave us all free will, right?
Okay.
Okay. Is it if you go by the ideology of most all religions, there is God versus Satan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's Satan's job to trick and to bring down as many people or take away as many people from God that he can, right?
I've heard the story.
Anybody who is a true believer of God knows that if you are a true believer, you're not. How do I put this?
Yes, give it to me. Give it to me.
How do I put this? Free will. Now, and please, listeners, I'm just learning that we were talking about this discussion, so I'm trying to get my thought process
Believe
together.
me, it's fine. No one ever talks about you negatively. It'd be me they talk negative about, so you're fine.
But this is a very near to dear, to my heart. So I want to make sure I get this right.
Right.
When I say free will, for you to feel like, okay, you're talking about American slavery, right?
Hey, we'll just say slavery in general. Go ahead. I don't think that owning people should ever be something that's not frowned upon.
Right,
But
you're right, but neither is rape, neither is murder,
right.
Neither is any other injustice that can be done to one another, not just slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that you would be holding God accountable for every horrible thing that ever happened that man chooses to do. And I think that's not fair. Even slavery, Holocaust,
mm-hmm.
child molestation,
mm-hmm.
murder, domestic violence, anything that people do, fraud, stealing somebody's retirement, anything that is a horrific act that somebody does,
mm-hmm.
to blame God when he's saying, I want you to love me for me, not because I'm forcing you, and I'm going to give you free will. And then you choose what you're going to do. And some people are going to choose to do, and this is some guidelines that will help you live a better life or a good life. And you decide what you're going to do, right?
Okay.
And then there are going to be people out here going to choose to do wrong, choose to do evil, choose to do horrific acts.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way you can put that on God is if you say you shouldn't have given mankind free will.
Okay.
To make their own decision.
All right. So now here's my pushback to that. Okay. All right. So we always hear all the time, we're made in God's image all the time. Made in God's image, be God-like, you do things the way God would do it, the whole nine. We hear this all the time. In the same breath, I'll use an example. If a man doesn't take care of his child, he's the father and there's a child. Mm-hmm. And then the father is watching the child, and his job is to take care of the child, is watching the child be reckless as shit, and he doesn't even realize that his behavior is being out of the pocket. Because this is what I always say about people in the projects. People in the projects always say they need to do better. And I always be like, who taught them what better is? You can't just use that blanket statement. They're going to go off of what they know. So I guess my pushback always with this situation when we talk about it is that I feel like we absolve God of things that we will not absolve anyone else of. Husbands, baby fathers, baby mamas, everyone else is held to a higher standard than we actually hold the creator of it all. Because the creator of it all, go ahead.
So you're saying that he's not teaching us the right way, so all these things are happening because we're not understanding
that's not
what's right and wrong?
No, what I'm saying is this. I'm actually just trying to make the point that I believe that we are holding each other to a higher standard than we are God. And this is what I mean, because I don't want to sound blasphemous when I say this. What I'm saying is this. Class example. when a child and a parent isn't connecting, you have baby daddy issue, right? Whose responsibility is it to rectify that situation? The parent or the child?
When you say child, are you talking about a young child? Or
I'll take an adult. I'll take an adult. When a father and a child that he had a horrible time raising. I know this situation far too well. So
you
if
said
this
a horrible time raising,
well, he didn't do. We have baby daddy problems. He's a horrible baby daddy. Baby daddy was not there for anything. No one ever says to the child, even when the child becomes an adult, you know it's your responsibility to go make right with your parent. No, we tell the parent it is your job to make sure you rectify what has happened with the child. And I'm only using this as an example because you said that these wars and slavery and all this other stuff is man's issue. But what I'm saying to it is that some of these people are doing these things and doesn't even know that it's wrong. But God never intervenes. He allows us just to basically shit on each other every day. And so I'm just using the example of the baby father because in the baby father, baby and the child situation, we never tell them it's the child's responsibility to come to the parent. The parent's responsibility is to come to the child. But it doesn't apply when we're talking about this situation. We're giving free will.
Well, let me. That's your interpretation of a parent-child relationship. Let me give you my interpretation.
Give it to me.
My interpretation is,
and I don't think I articulated that well either. But go ahead.
No, I got what you're saying. We got 18 years, and they actually say less than that. I cannot remember the age that they say once a child has developed who they're going to be in life.
By the age of 15. By the age of 15, it's hard to get to change a child's mind. He is pretty much conformed to what he's going to be by the age of 15. Go ahead.
Okay. So when that parent who in this country is legally responsible for their child's actions up until 18, right? So it is our job to teach them their way. See, in your scenario, God was absent or the father was absent, right?
Okay.
But that's not how I see it. I believe he has been there, right?
Okay.
And I believe he has taught and said, this is the way you should go. This is what you need to do.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Wait. I got to get the whole stereo out.
Go ahead.
This is what you need to do. And then once that child becomes of age, this is real. I'm talking about physical parents to physical children.
Mm-hmm.
Once they leave your home, they have. That's why it's so pivotal to not just provide for your children. We have to teach our children.
Okay.
And then you teach the values that they need to be who they need to be successful. And in my opinion, successful is a person with empathy, a person with love, a person with care. That's like a person with integrity. And then once they go out in the world, that's they're going to have to choose what they're going to be in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are going to be some children that are going to listen and adhere to what their upbringing was. And then there's going to be some children that could be in the same household that is not going to adhere to it. It is as long as that parent gave you the knowledge and the tools and you choose otherwise, it is not on that parent at that point.
Okay, so
you
let me
free will to go live your life.
Okay, so let me push back on that. So this is my thing to you is that because I have a legit question for you, and it's what I'm going to say. Now, we are black people. We are black people in America. I have been around some well-to-do Negroes. I've been around some middle-class Negroes. I've been around some brothers that is bringing up the bottom. Would you agree you've been around all three?
Yes.
Okay. The upbringing of the people at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and say most of them feel like I watch them and they look like they've been raised by wolves. And that's a joke. But what my joke is that when you're raised by wolves and you turn into a wolf, how can you then tell that person he knows better if no one ever taught him? Because you do know this happens. Because one thing I'm going to tell you that gets trumped more than God getting in your life It is this country, this white supremacy. It's going to basically do something. Something I heard one of my famous lawyers say, Alton Maddox, say one time. He says, America's built like this. And I totally agree. If you don't plan for yourself, America will plan for you. And what I'm saying is that there's so many black people that never even get exposed to a lot of this information. But we are basically saying God is still going to judge them like they did. And I just don't see how one correlates with the other. Just my
Well,
personal.
this is the thing. You don't think, and first, you don't think that God knows who knows and who doesn't
But now,
know?
but now we're projecting onto what we think God is thinking. We don't know how he projects those people.
No.
We don't know how he views those people. We don't know how he views those people.
God is all knowing.
Okay.
My belief is God is all knowing.
All right.
So he knows who was raised and how
boom.
they were raised.
Since you said that, let me ask you questions. God's all knowing. So what you're basically saying is that if you come from trash people, he gonna give you an exception because he know you came from trash, correct?
Mm.
He understands where you're coming from.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Possibly. Yes.
So
yes.
so if that's the case, that means we don't have free will, because that means that he already knows the outcome of what you're going to do before you even do it.
Because he knows the outcome, that just means he knows what we're going to do.
So I don't have free will
That
then.
does not
That
mean
means it's
that
already
it was
been.
not our free will to do so.
What I'm saying is that how it's okay. All right, I'll give you one even better. Have you ever looked at your natal chart before?
No.
Okay. I would employ you to get your natal chart and not just your zodiac sign, but just somebody gave me the information on how to pull my natal chart. So I pulled my natal chart. It gives you basically all you need to do is you need to know what year, what day, and what hour you were born. All right. And what's amazing is I remember when after reading my natal chart, I made the assessment. I didn't have any choice in this matter. You know how when we're talking and you tell me that you seem very angry a lot of time about the way the world works and how you need to relax sometime and enjoy yourself. Well, I had no choice in the matter, because if you even read my natal chart, this is who the fuck I am. And
what you mean?
in my natal chart, it basically tells me that no matter which wheelhouse I'm in, it tells me that how I'm curious. It tells me the way that I'm going to view my culture. It tells me everything that is my personality. It is me. Every person I've ever let read it that knows me says, "Damn, L, that's you." Every time.
Listen, you know how they say your phone be listening to you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So after we had that discussion, I think it was this weekend, it came across, and I actually posted it on my Instagram story because it resonated with me.
What's that? What's that?
It said something to the effect, I want to get the quote right. Let me find it while we're talking. But
okay, go ahead.
It said something to the effect of, and this lady said, part of fighting racism for me is teaching my children to find joy to find some level of joy during the suffering.
Okay.
Because, and that resonated with me, because we are where we are, and it's not something that we've been here this way, our people, for a few months, a few years, a few decades, a few millenniums. It's just the way it's been throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought of living my only guaranteed life. Notice I said only guaranteed.
Only guaranteed. Yes, I know.
Because we don't know what
What's
will
after.
happen
I
once
agree.
this life is over, right?
I say it every time. I say it all the time. We do not what's on the other side. We do not know.
We don't know. We can only hope, suspect, guess. But so this is our only guaranteed life.
Mm-hmm.
The thought of spending my only guaranteed life full of sadness and anger, it depresses me.
Hey, it depresses me.
So I, and even the way that I cope with it is I do believe that there's some type of life after this. I can't tell you that I believe for 100% is heaven. I can't tell you I believe 100% is life on earth without any evil. And everybody is equal, and the way it should be righteously. I can't tell you if it's reincarnation, and then you keep living life until you find whatever purpose of, I don't know what
I heard them all. Heard every
I know.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it's nothing. I can tell you that. I don't believe it's nothing. And so I don't believe that my God sent me into these type of circumstances, and that where I'm just going to bring in and then suffer for one life and then die.
Can I ask you a question?
I just don't believe that. Yeah.
Could you ever think about it? Could it potentially be this? Could it potentially be, because I've always read, because I've read so many different ways of how things could potentially be after this life. And one of the ways that they talk about is that you're going, like, reincarnation may be a thing because you're going to keep repeating life because you have lessons that you have to learn until you learn them. What if it is the potential to maybe and like I say, but with that logic that you have you ever stopped and thought to yourself, maybe they consistently keep making us come back and redo this because we haven't gotten ourselves out of the condition that we're in?
No, I don't think that, because I don't think it's our responsibility to do that.
And see, boom, that's what we differ.
I think this is what I believe. I believe that God put what I can't honestly tell you I necessarily believe in an Adam and an Eve and all that stuff.
Well, we can read the book and decipher what that meant, but go ahead.
What I do believe is that God wanted love, because from what I believe is that's the greatest commandment, is to love God and then to love one another. That is, that's the number one and the number two commandment in the Bible.
I've heard them. I've heard people say that. I've heard it.
And to love one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
love your enemy. Love you. Turn the other cheek. I've heard them all.
No, I didn't say that. I said to love one another. and so I believe that's what he wanted to see. I don't believe that he wanted this. But when you give people free will, and then it's kind of like, I feel like the life that he gives us is giving us the opportunity to choose love, to choose righteousness, to choose to be a good human being. And the reason why I consider reincarnation as a possibility is he does not want to give up on his children. And I feel like if you have not learned that, he's going to give you, and he's going to put you in a scenario where maybe you're taught that. And these are, again, this is not something that somebody is teaching me.
Yeah, this is your personal conjecture. I get it.
Yeah.
And what I tell people all the time, you have to do whatever moves you organically inside. Like for me, me and you are going to be totally opposed to each other on this subject organically, just by the way that we're made up. And this is what I always tell people. But see, I have no problem with that. But I think a lot of people who view the way of the world that, oh, look at me, because I can tell you how I feel about religion, the whole thing. I can dive heavily into it. And I don't come from a place of ignorance. So this is not me just saying, hey, I just want to believe. I'm telling you, as you start looking for things will present itself for you. And as I dove into this whole subject, as I dive deeper into it, as I watch the way the world works, it just doesn't work for me. And I've tried. And this is not me saying that I've opposed it. Remember, we were raised very religious. I was the one who, I believed what I was taught as a child, even though I may not have practiced everything. I believed it. But as I dive into things, as I start doing it, one thing that always didn't sit well with me until this day, it still doesn't sit well with me. It is God told you in Genesis, if it's real, that you were made in his image. I am God-like. That is what that means. My thoughts, my emotions, my actions supposed to mirror, because he made me in his image. So the thoughts that I have in my head, the things that I have to do, yes, I choose to do what I choose to do. But I don't choose the thoughts that I have in my head. So the thoughts that I have in my head, there are people that have thoughts of molestation in their head. There's people that have thoughts of nasty, the things, kill, murder, the whole nine. And then some of them act them out. I'm not that person. I may have thoughts, I may have feelings, but I just don't see how, you're going to make me flawed and then punish me for doing flawed things. That's all I'm just saying.
But I don't think that's what he does, though. See, you mentioned we grew up we grew up very religious, and we did. But and we've had this conversation in the past. Every religion has a human beginning, a creator of a religion, right? And what they do is they take what their beliefs are and say, this is what, take God's word, say, this is what God says based on their own beliefs, and then they peddle it to other people.
How do you,
right?
Yeah.
So my thing is this. I'm going to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I said it, and I mean it. I believe God's word has been hijacked. It even says in the Bible that beware of false prophets, right? Or you done so and so in my name, and when I see you, I will say I don't know you. So he's even speaking that people were going to hijack his word, right?
Right.
So my question to you is, so I'm very, very leery of religion because I don't want to be brainwashed by some man using my trust and my belief in God.
Right.
So I'm very, so my question to you is, what I do is when I sit down and I'm listening to the word and I read the word, my prayer is always to God, directly to God, is protect me from falsities. Give me your word. Move me, direct me. I don't need Marvin Sapp. I don't need give me another religious person.
You don't need Donnie McClurkin?
Huh?
You don't need Donnie McClurkin? I don't know why I said
I don't need Donnie McClurkin. I don't need any man to have a relationship with God. I go directly to him.
But
and
see,
if you believe in a creator and you believe in God, you got to know he is going to protect you from that. So he's going to guide you to where, and he's going to speak to you in your spirit and your soul and guide you to where you need to be.
This is my thing, because I say this a lot and I get trouble for it. I say God is regional. Because I say a lot of times, depending on what region you was born into, it's going to determine what type of God you pray to. And the thing that I think that always gets me is this. I have a very analytical mind. So like when we're having debates and I tell you that I'm a researcher, like even with the genealogy I'm doing now, it's not as cut as dry as getting on the screen and just going and putting names up there. They'll give you that. No, you have to do research. You have to know how to research. And as I dive into this subject, as I dive into my own research and about religion, about the Bible, the whole nine, the one thing that it's already going to make me leery because I don't have a proven source. And see, for me, I like a proven source first and foremost. And so for me, I'm getting a book that has been touched. I'll just take from 1900 to 2025. They have revised this book a million bazillion times just in this 125 years. So what I'm saying is that the word of God, you're telling me the end all be all, is now in like 3 or 4 different books. Some of them mirror each other. Some of them contradict each other. But each one of these people in the region are praying to something different. And what I'm thinking is, my analytical mind says, I don't know if God created us or did we create God? You hear what I'm saying?
Gosh, yeah, that does sound very blasphemous.
But see,
let me say this.
But hold on, let me finish my point. Let me finish my statement before I say it. But when I say that is because I'm not trying to be blasphemous, but what I am saying is this. Everything that I know about the Bible, about God, that someone else has told me, is their interpretation of it.
Yes, their interpretation of it. Yes.
So what I'm saying is that, so now I can only rely on their interpretation and what my ingenuity and my inside myself already. And what I'm saying is that, but you tell a researcher or analytical person, my mind doesn't work that way. I have to have the answer. And I'm not trying to fight this. I'm not doing this to be spiteful. Nothing makes sense to me until it can be proven. I don't know why, but it is.
Well, this is the problem, though. You say you do a lot of research, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've learned a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything you have researched was touched by another man.
Okay, can I tell you what
we do as human beings? What we do as human beings is we decide, and it's just a thing we do.
Mm-hmm.
We do research, right? And we have a certain mindset or a certain belief or what we think it is, and we just inherently go and just gear ourselves to people who have similar beliefs. And we can say, let me get it out now.
Okay.
I've done the research. I found this here. But then if you find a differing opinion, you are going to find a way to discredit that. Who's to say A is correct, who you believe and with your research, but B is incorrect because their analysis does not match with your analysis. They're both humans. They're both men.
See, now I'm gonna tell you, but
think that, so my whole point is this: if you believe in God, if you either do or you don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about scripture at this point. I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm not talking about how it's been altered over the years. It has been, stated that there are biblical books that have been removed from the Bible.
Yes, we've lost 6 books of the Bible. So it was 72, it's 66 now.
Okay. So my point is, outside of all of that, if you believe in a higher power and if you believe in God, why do you have to have that at all?
Okay, because I'm gonna tell you why. Because we are conditioned this way, and I'm gonna tell you what I mean. This is how the human mind works. Just take our court system. You are innocent until proven guilty, but everybody needs to be proven before we believe this person's innocent. My issue with religion is this. You're right. Too many people touch it, and what I'm saying is that you're trying to tell me my existence, not my car, not my house, my very essence of what I am is up for interpretation from another human being. Let me say this. No, I'm going to tell you what I mean. The etymology of words. The word believe comes from the word belie, to be lied to. The whole word of the word believe means to be lied to. So the reason why I say that I can't go off of belief is because in my life, I have to prove myself every day for someone to take me serious. I tell you what I told my daughter. I told my youngest daughter this. She was a little habitual liar when she was like 3 or 4 years old. She would go off to school. She would lie all the time. And I would tell her, I said, baby girl, what's going to happen is one of these days you're going to be telling the truth and no one's going to believe you. And I said, because your word has to mean something. And what I'm saying to you is that this book, and then 2 things I'm going to say, this book has been interpreted by so many different people, has been told to me this is what it is, and this is told me this is the word of God. Who said this is the word of God? It's a hearsay thing. God has never told me this. So I'm taking my very essence and being of everything, my essence, and I put it into something, and it hasn't even been told to me by the creator that this is real. That doesn't sit well with me, because now I have to wonder who's controlling me at this point.
But see, and I get your concern, but the problem is you're relying too much on what man says God is, as opposed to going to God yourself and trusting in God to direct your steps.
Can I say this?
Right now, wait.
Go
you
ahead.
are directing your own steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying to you is you could just leave the Bible or any
religious book alone. Just leave it alone. Just deal with God. All right. I have a question.
Right.
I have
Wait,
something to that.
Wait. Yeah, let me get this point out. What I'm saying to you is, you use the word believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking you to believe this or believe that. I'm asking, my word is faith.
Okay.
You have to have, I still struggle with my beliefs because I know it's been tainted by man.
I have a question.
What I'm saying to you is, my faith in God is strong and irreversible.
Can I ask a question? This is just a question. I was going to ask something different, but I have a question to that. I really do want to answer this. Is there a scripture in the Bible, because I've never seen this, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, that says that you have to believe in God and not know God?
Is there a scripture that you have to believe and not know him?
Yes, because the reason why I say that, because the reason why
I can't tell you I've run across that. But
okay, because the reason why I say that is because you're asking me to. I question everything because we live in a very white supremacy has us in a box. Would you agree? And it's very hard to get out of this box, especially for melanated people. Would you agree? I didn't say it was impossible. I said, do they make it difficult?
White supremacy has us in a box. Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what I end up doing with this word, and I do this all the time in every facet of life. Why do we count in seconds and not in first? Who said the Bible was the word of God? Why isn't it the Torah the word of God? Why is prayer the way that we're supposed to talk to God? Who told us this was the thing to do? Who's to say that we don't supposed to lay on our stomachs and pee to be able to talk to God? I'm just saying everything that we know, someone else told us how to do it. God never came to me and say, you have to pray to me to talk to me. You have to believe in me to be able to do it. He's never done this. Someone else told me this. So I'm just questioning. I have to question because you told me my existence is put into this. You told me that I have to not question it and do it this way. Who said that? Because
I said you don't have to question.
No, what I mean, not question. Let me take that back. What I mean is when I say I question everything, because you said you have to know God, you have to pray to God, you have to talk to God, and I'm saying this. Who told you that's the way He wants to communicate with you, or that entity wants to? Someone else told you.
I can tell you this. Nobody told me that I need to eat food. It's just something that.
No, you're right.
Along,
no, you're right. No, okay, you had to eat. Okay. Somebody stuck a titty in your mouth or a spoon in your mouth. Though.
Yeah. But guess what? Let me tell you something, though. If you think about it, is eating not a human thing, right? We were created in order to children, newborn babies come out craving milk or craving food, right? Nobody had to tell them. That's just their bodies crave it. Their bodies need it.
Your body doesn't crave the Bible. Your body doesn't crave.
My God.
I just was saying that.
My point is this. Somebody taught you your beliefs, what you believe in, as far as race, as far as gender, everything that you believe, because you have beliefs. Somebody taught you those beliefs.
Yeah, see,
you learned those beliefs from somebody. You've chosen to believe them.
But this is the whole thing. But the only difference is in that classic example. Me and you was raised the exact same way. But the only difference is my life experiences have dictated this for me. See, when I think of religion, especially you said about food, innately pee is going to come out, shit is going to come out. If someone sticks food in my mouth is going to swallow. That is an innate thing to the human body. If I never pick up the Bible, doesn't mean I can't exist. I can still exist and never do that. So I don't use those two in the same right, because one is something that I have to survive innately. The other one is really I can choose which way to go. That's not an innate choice. It's not something I have to have.
But, okay, if you don't like that analogy, that's fine. But it still goes back to you're telling me who taught. I don't know. Somebody had. How do I know this is how God wants me to speak to them? Right?
Yeah, I agree. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
Though.
Now you said your beliefs are based upon your life experiences, right?
Most of the time when I say I believe something, it's going to be something that I experience. Other than that, I can't tell you what I think about it.
So you are a human being who has decided, unless I can touch it, unless I can see it, unless I can experience it, unless I can prove it, it is not real, and therefore
You think I chose that?
And so
You think I chose that, is what you're saying.
Which is where we differ. This is probably our biggest difference. That is someone who is faithless. And
No.
that's fine.
No. See, this is my thing. I give you a classic example. You are taught as a human, and that's why I keep bringing up parents. When you have a reliable parent that has been responsible and taking care of you of every way, what you're going to do is you're going to give them credence when if it's some classic example. I always say this right now. If a zombie apocalypse pop off, I told my kids they're in Texas, I'm coming. And my daughter say, I don't have any doubt in my mind because of the way you have treated me your entire existence. Now, I have another daughter out here that I haven't been around that much. If I tell her that, she's going to question that due to the way we have experienced things. And so what I'm saying to you is that what you're saying, I'm not faithless, but what I am going to say is this: you're going to have to do something for me to put faith in it. It's the way we are organically set up. Everything we do is that way. No one gives faith.
That's the way
Let me say this. You can't give me one other situation in your life where you're going to tell me you're going to give blind faith to it other than God. You're going to tell me no other situation you're going to do that. No other situation.
That's correct.
But so what I'm saying to you is, but the only reason why you give that blind faith to God is because someone told you you're supposed to.
No, absolutely not. That's what you're not getting. My belief in God has nothing to do with my upbringing, with my parents, it was my life experiences. When I've struggled and I've gone through things and I go to God in prayer and some things that should not have happened, that should not have come about on a normal basis, came about for me. I'm not basing my faith solely on what my mother or my father or so-and-so told me to believe. Right. It's been my walk in life. And so, my God has, and nobody's life is perfect, right? Nobody is going to get everything. Nobody's going to have it all good. Nobody's going to have it all great. None of that, right? You're going to have issues. You're going to have struggles. That's just what life is, right? So what I'm saying to you is my belief is what has gotten me to be and gotten me through things that I believe on my own I would have not been able to do.
I get you. And
you cannot pick your beliefs off of anybody, including your human parents. That has to be a walk that go ahead.
Let me say this. Two things I will say. One, you're definitely right. Let me say this first. The human mind is set up this way. Seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing. That is the way the scientific way of your brain is set up that way. So if you have a belief in something, it can be conceptualized and come true. If you do not have a belief in something, it cannot happen. Even if it's in your face, your mind is set up that way. And I always say something what you said. You're right. I am not with faith, but I am not godless, because I do think that there is a creator. Let me finish. This is a creator of it all. I just don't think that the creator is in the same colloquial sense that we are all praying to it today. I think that God has I do believe God made all humans in his image. So when I step onto this earth, I don't give my responsibility to anyone else. I give the image of God. He made me in his image. I'm a little baby God. I'm supposed to go out in this world and do like he told me to do. I'm doing those things innately off of what I'm supposed to do. Not something someone tells me, not some way to something that I'm doing. Okay. That is my innate part of me. That is the God in me. The reason why I can get on this internet and say things that others will be afraid to say, it's because of the God in me says, I'm better than, greater than anything that you're going to put fear into my heart with. You can't scare me off of this thing when it comes to that, because God is in me. See, God is not external of me. God is in me. And so if he's in me, I don't look up, I don't look down. So what I'm saying is, I don't believe in faith because God didn't do it. He doesn't faith for me. God says, go out there and do your shit, and I'm going to be right there with you. Faith without works is dead, is what people say, and that's how I move. I'm just not a faith person, because when I put faith into things, I have to put a belief into something. I believe in only what I can do.
See, you lost me a little bit, but I just want to clarify. I never said you were not.
But I agree. I'm not.
You were godless, or you didn't believe in God. Yeah. I said faithless. There's a difference.
Yes.
Because
I'm not a faith-based guy. No, I'm not. I'm not a faith-based guy. No.
And let me say this too. Everybody has to have and do their lives the way they best seem fit. One thing I will never, ever do is judge anybody for anything they choose to do in life.
I agree.
Because it is not my it's not my place to do that. Yeah. I don't know anybody's walk in life to say, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't be that, you need to think this way. The only relationship I can concern myself with is for me and God. And whatever I can't even say my belief is the correct belief over somebody else's belief. I can only tell you that is my belief. You know what I'm saying?
And you see, for me, and that's why, see, honestly, when I started thinking this way through my experiences, it actually freed me. And what I mean by that is because I was caught up in that who had the right God thing for years. Everybody's been told they have the right God. So you get caught up in there because with each God comes certain sets of rules. And so for me, but then I realized as I'm watching these rules come into play, those rules are not godly. When these different sectors,
a lot of it is not.
None of it is.
You know what I believe, what? And then I'm gonna have to leave you soon. But
I'm sorry, I got caught up in the conversation. Go ahead, you ready?
Right. My belief is that there are many gods, but one creator. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if you know, in the Quran, Jesus is in the Quran.
Yes,
right?
he is. Yes.
He's not.
Yeah, so yes, he is.
The son of God, he's a prophet, right?
Yes, he's a prophet, right.
My belief is, depending on your geographical situation, whatever you were taught, some people will use the name Allah. Some people will use the name Yahweh. Some people uses the name Jesus. And I still try to figure out how they think it's one and the same. But
I can tell you how.
But okay, but my whole point is this. My point is, regardless of the name that you call him, there's one God, and I believe he reigns over everybody. And people get way too caught up in that. Your religion say who is Allah? And
two things. I'm gonna trip you out. One, I'm gonna say the whole Yahweh versus Jesus thing. The only reason why people use that name interchangeably is because there was no letter J until the 1600s. So that's why it couldn't have been Jesus back then, because there was no letter J. Yahweh is the way it's written on those early texts that you see.
Well, what I meant more so is how some people say Jesus is the Son of God.
Right. But
and then some people say
he is God.
He is God. Well, that's what I mean. That's the part I mean.
And then I will say this, though. You know what's very funny? The part of the world, and I want you to I'm going to give you a little bit of homework, but I'm going to give you the answer to it, too, so I can prove them right. Well, since you're talking about the name of God, I wonder what Jesus would have called God, because that would probably be who we should call him, what Jesus called God, correct?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I want you to do this. I want you to look up what language Jesus spoke. Okay. When you do it, and after you figure out what language Jesus spoke, I want you to tell me in that language what is the name of God, and then in that language. Okay.
Okay. Why you can't just tell me?
Okay, I'll tell you, because you always tell me to prove stuff to you, so I'll tell you though. Jesus speaks Arabic, right?
Okay.
And what is the Arabic name for God?
What is it?
What do the Muslims call God?
Allah.
Yes. So Jesus would have called God Allah when he was on the planet Earth, if we go by the colloquial sense of the way we follow religion. Did you know that?
Yeah, but from what I read, if he is the Son of God, I've seen scripture where he refers to him as Father, but I don't know. But
no, that's what I was telling you.
Can I say this too before we go?
Go ahead.
I want to tell everybody, and even though I did not do this, I wish I had. When you are going through life, leave your hometown, leave your home state.
Yes, you do have
go
to.
Go into an area that you are not familiar with. See other people's cultures, other people's lives, and experience other things, because when you only experience one thing, you could be missing out on other things. And I said that point because people should not just adhere to one religion.
No.
If you're going to read the Bible, read the Quran.
Read the Torah.
If you're going to read multiple things so you can get multiple perspectives. That is the only way you can really, truly learn what your heart is telling you to believe in.
Yes, I do believe you have to do that. I have no arguments with you. And honestly, one of the only things that I got from Dad was that. He told me that. He was like, I don't think me and your mother would have made it if he had stayed in his hometown. And I truly believe it, because I know that, because I've experienced so many different things since leaving the hometown. And if I stayed, I put it like this. I was not the person I am outside of North Carolina that I was in North Carolina. I can definitively tell you that. And that is because you do have to experience things. Because what you're going to find out is, in this world, as you start experiencing things, majority of the stuff that you still even believe, whether you realize it was directly put on you or not, it's somebody else's way of controlling you. It really is. It really boils down to that. But I digress. I'm not going to hold you up.
What you can't do, you just can't take what somebody say on face value. You need to research it. You need to analytically think about it. You need to say, well, how can it be that if it's not this? You know, you can't. Yeah.
Because like with religion,
control means I'm manipulating you into believing something that's not true.
I would just say
I don't think it's always that.
I would just say this, just as just a hypothetical before I let you go. I would just say this. Just say at the end of it all, what if, and I don't know this to be true because I'm the man with the questions, not the answers. I don't know this stuff because I've never experienced it, but I would say to people all the time, what if at the end of it all of this was a control mechanism, and what a human turns into after they leave here is something even greater than what we experience now? We're going to be very mad at ourselves for sitting here listening to this bullshit. That's what I was going to say.
I disagree, because if I'm going into a new life and it's beautiful and all that, I don't believe you would go through that for no reason, because life is about lessons.
Hey, I agree.
It's about lessons and learning.
I think if someone had to pull me out, because I always tell people this, I am not atheist. People say, you have an atheist. I do not. At best, I would say I'm agnostic. And I would say this, because I'm this. I'm seeing is believing. If God cracked the sky tomorrow, I'm believing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to argue with this. Well, we can go on and on and on.
Yeah,
that's your faith thing again all over again.
There's got to be points in times where you're going to have to trust and have faith.
But see, you say that, but I don't know where in the Bible ever tells me the times you're going to have to trust me. And I ain't heard none of that. I don't know now.
Why does it got to be in the Bible? Why does it have to be in the Bible?
Because if it's not in the Bible,
why can't it be something that you say to yourself?
I'm not telling myself that. I won't tell myself that because I won't believe that. So what you're asking me to do is, the book is not telling me that, and my mind is not telling me that. I'm not going to believe that. So you're asking me.
That's why I say faithless, because if you can't see it, touch it, feel it. But guess what? Guess what else you can't? Guess what else you can't see, but you know is real?
You're going to say air, and I don't know if air is what it is.
Oh, my God. Yeah, oh, God.
I mean, it is. Because I'm going to tell you right now. And I'm going to let you go, because I'm going to tell you the only reason why I say that, and that's a whole nother subject, but the reason why I say that is because that's science. And see, air is a theory. Same way gravity is a theory. These are theories that some man told us what it is. They don't even know. So that's why I say that. I'm not trying to pull it out my ass. What I'm saying is that I don't know.
Answer me this. Can you? So the only reason why you believe in wind is because you see stuff moving?
No, I feel it. I feel wind. I see wind when it knocks shit over. I feel that all the time.
But you don't. Okay, got it.
Because I honestly, if you ask me my opinion, I don't think it's air. It's just air. I think it's consciousness. What air is, but that's a whole nother subject. But I won't dive into that.
Yeah.
But
gotcha.
anyways, yes, it was good having you, and I'm telling you, we can pick this back up and we can go head to head if you want to. I'm just playing. I know you ain't built like that.
I don't want to go head to head.
I know you're not built like that. I
want us to have a meetings of the mind and give each other different perspectives, so we can both maybe learn something that we didn't think of, or consider something we didn't think of.
I'm on board for that always. I am. But I'm gonna call you later because I got some stuff to tell you anyways. But I'm gonna hit you back, okay?
All right.
All right, sugar. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, we're gonna take this.
We've got old school.
Old school.
And we've got new school.
Always plays the new music first right here.
It's 300 Radio. It's time for the...
I always pops up the chill report. Always pops up. All right, guys. That was today's show. We kind of heavy on the episode. Let me pull this down from over here. Get her off the screen. But yes, that was today's show. I thoroughly enjoyed that, guys. It was really, really fun. If anything, let me put this over here. Get my screen in order. That was really, really fun. I did not expect the conversation to go into a religious conversation, but it did. But I could tell me and her, we are really tight, really close, but we are totally different ends of the spectrum when it comes to religion, when it comes to spirituality, the whole nine. I'll give you my 2 cents as I close out, so people won't think that I'm just crazy out here and I'm an atheist. But my thing is this. Everything that we believe, that we think we know, from your language, how you walk, how to run, how to eat food, how to educate yourself, how to parent, all of this stuff you learn directly or indirectly by watching others all the time. I say this all the time. So I think the belief part comes into play is because, and like I say, with all respect, I want to say it to her, the belief part comes into play for Miss Lovey is because someone has told you this is how you're supposed to believe. This faith thing that people talk about. See, I'm sorry. This is a vast world. I've been all over this place, this realm that we live on. It's massive. It's a lot of different people, cultures, temperatures, environments. Everything's solely different. No one person is the same. And to think that the creator of this massive place lives inside of a book that is thousands of years old, when society has changed 1,000 times since this book was came into existence, you're trying to tell people to live off of this. Now, I heard her say she's not so much religious as she is spiritual now. So she don't put as much stock in just the Bible as she does a lot of times her common sense, her faith, her blind faith to the system. And I actually envy people who could do that. I have no blind faith in anything. From the very early age, I was taught you don't put your faith in no one until they earn that trust from you. Now, I know she probably would tell me if she was still sitting here that, well, he does do things for you. He has been there for you. He woke you up this morning. Hey, great. If he has, I need to know that. So you're telling me this is what God does. See, again, everything is someone else telling you. God told me. God said. God woke us up. Be grateful for this. God wants you to love. This is God's greatest commandment. Where did you get that from? Out that book. Who wrote that book? Samuel. Samuel who? Matthew. Matthew who? Moses. Moses who? Because if I write a book today and I tell you all these truths to be real, this, that, and third, and God inspired me, who's to check me? Especially if I can get others to believe it as well. So I just, to me, I'm not trying to knock anyone's religion. I'm not trying to tell anyone they are not correct. I could be dead wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will own it. But what I am telling us is this. I've been on this planet for a while. I've watched who control everything, no matter what their behaviors are, no matter how good or bad they are, no matter how they conduct themselves with other human beings, they're always in the lead. They're always living well. They always have better health. They always have better quality of food. They always have access to more traveling, more access to more money and wealth, more access to everything. And we're always at the bottom praying it out, having faith. And see, for me, if you want me to have so much faith in that, you're going to have to come through eventually for me. And it can't be in a mysterious way. And I don't mean to say that, and I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I mean that. As a father, I have to show up. Not in a mysterious way for my children. I have to show up in a way that they feel it. What would you tell a child if I was not to raise my child and I wanted to get into my child's life when she got older, he got older? And I'll give you an example. So I meet my child for the first time and they're 30. And I say, hey, I'm your dad. I want to spend some time and get to know you. And they say, fuck you, I don't want to get to know you. And then I went back and I told others, man, I tried to get with him, but he or she didn't want to do it. Well, you're going to tell me a lot of times, a psychiatrist is going to tell me this, a mother is going to tell me this, a sibling or someone who loves me is going to tell me this. Give that person time. Give them time to come around. You just keep trying and come around. Eventually they'll come around. Just keep trying. You fucked it up early, but keep trying. But for some reason, when it comes to this situation, we supposed to blindly do it no matter how many times we needed them to come through and no one did. Now again, that could be blasphemy to others. I'm not trying to be blasphemy. I'm telling you, if God is real in the way that you think he is, all you got to do is show up for me and I'll ride for you. I'll ride till the wheels fall off. But see, I interpret what has been said about the Bible differently. I've interpreted what they tell me about God differently. I'll say it a little bit when I was talking to her. I was made in the image of the Creator. So which means is I am a creator myself. I created life with my children. I make things with my hands. I am very frugal when it comes to that. So I am a creator myself. Am I the God of everything? No. Am I your God? No. Am I the next? No, I'm nobody's God but my own. I am my own God. I was made in the image of God. So I'm just telling others, you do the same. Stop looking external for something that should be internal. See, I think, and this is the last thing and then I'm gonna get out of here. I think the reason why black religion has killed us so much is because it has us looking outside of ourselves. It has us giving it to God versus digging in there, putting your boots in the ground and figuring the shit out for yourself. Now, I hate that it has to be this way, but I have not experienced any other way but that way. Everything I've gotten in this life, I got it out the mud and I had to do it myself with the help of others that I know. And those people that have helped me, I ride with, I believe in, I have faith in them. So I'm not faithless. I just don't give blind faith. Faith is earned, not given. Scott Free Morning Show. I'm out.
Whoa. Before you leave this podcast and go somewhere else, did you hit the notification bell? Because if you didn't, please do so now. And I'm talking to the people who've already subscribed. But if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that as well. Hit the like button and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.